Welcome to part 2 of the Blackboard Outcomes Assessment training videos. So I just finished making my table, if you were watching my previous video, and now I'm ready to get into Blackboard and go ahead and start building this out in Outcomes Assessment. So go ahead and just open up your Blackboard site. And I have access to the Outcomes Assessment tab. As I told you in the last video, you will want to contact the Office of Institutional Effectiveness, get a hold of Bill Knight, and if you talk to him, he can give you access to this Outcomes Assessment tab. You really only need access to this if you are the one who's going to enter all the goals. So just keep that in mind, that not every person who's going to align artifacts to goals is going to need any of the access to Outcomes Assessment. In fact, they probably don't. Another thing that is just a tip, sometimes people will have their GA be the one with access and do this. That's a little bit problematic, because then the GA graduates and the author of the goal is gone. And when they try to organize the goals by author, because that is how they're posted, then we can't find that goal anymore because the person's gone. So it's just a good idea for you to try to do what you can to make sure someone who's going to be with your department, who's going to head this up, has this access, is going to enter this information. So click on the tab. And whenever you open up Outcomes Assessment, it's going to show you collected evidence first. That's actually kind of interesting, because that's actually the last step of the process, is when you get into collected evidence, and that'll be in a later video. We're going to start today with view goals. And as you can see, many people have already entered in goals using this different method that we showed you. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a new goal set. Now, I'm going to add one as though I work for the art department, but I'm going to delete this afterwards because, like I told you, I'm not really with the art department. It's just my example. So the first thing is I want to add a goal set. This is really hard to see, but if you hover up here, this little menu will fall down, and that's how you can create a new goal set. You might be tempted to import a goal set. I do not recommend that. There are some very specific coding things that have to happen to make that work successfully. So I just always create new goal set. It takes a little typing, but trust me, that's really the way that you want to do it. So you want to go ahead and put in the set name. Remember, in our document earlier, each set had its own name, okay? Each table was a goal set. So CFA, College of Fine Arts dash art. All right, so that's my college name and my department. You're also going to be prompted to put a set type. The best way to do this is continue with the college name, the hyphen separated by spaces, and then department. So if we continue to follow the example, there we go. You want to make sure it's set to active. By default, it will be, but make sure it stays on active. You really want that in there. Otherwise, people won't be able to align to it. And submit. And by default, it kicks me over to this tab to go ahead and add a goal category. So it's going to give me the suggestion, just goals. That's really not what you want. You want to change that. You could do that. As you can see, my cursor's in this box. I just click in here. I can highlight that. But this is where that little table comes in handy. Remember, we wrote the goal category over and over. So copy that and paste. And do the check mark to accept it. And there we go. So this is my goal set. If I decide I want to edit that, I can do that. Right now, that's really all you'll want to do. We'll get into some other fancier functions later, but edit and delete are probably the only two things you really want to do in this part. So now we can go ahead and start adding goals. So we're going to do them all at once here for the BFA in art. So click Add Goal. And remember, we wrote the goal ID. Now all this is going to come in handy. If you have two screens or a really large screen, that's easier, but I don't. So I'm going to just toggle back and forth, and it works pretty well. And there it is. And then I will put my goal type. The goal type will always be program. That's always what you want to enter under goal type. So Just make sure that you always type that there. And then submit will save my goal. However, if you want to, if you know you have a child goal, you can save and add child. If you don't have another child, you have another goal that's on the equal parent level, you could just save and add another. That makes it pretty quick to go through this. But I'm going to submit because I want to show you how you'll add a child later if you change your mind. So submit. And I think, oh, I got to add the child. To do that, this little action link, just click that and create child goal. Notice I can also edit the goal here if I need to, but you won't be able to edit the unique ID, so just keep that in mind. So create my child goal, and remember I had that in my table too. Oops, I'm on the wrong line. And after a while, this goes pretty quickly. So as you can see, the most painful part was actually typing the table, but it's going to save me a ton of time once I get into Blackboard, and also it'll help me keep everything straight. Oh, and then the same thing again. Save and add child, save and add another. I'm just going to submit for today. So that's exactly how it will look. That's a pretty simple way to add in these goals. It takes a little bit, but it's not too bad, and if you've already made that table, it goes really quickly. Next, I'm going to show you how to align evidence to goals, and that will be in my next video.